on that note, are we ready to get back into how we got into PM? I think the last point
Yep.
we stopped was we didn't go into our interviews with Frank and Sangita yet. That's like right where we were at, right?
Yes, that's
Okay.
where we
Who
stopped.
do you want to go first with the experience, you or me? I'm fine with either.
I can go first. So since you went first last time, so I think yeah. So I think I mentioned that I got kind of like okay. Actually, we didn't talk about like how we applied, right? But
Yeah.
the way it happened for me is that I actually applied for a BDC business, no, business consulting.
Business development consultant. Yeah,
Yes,
BDC.
development consulting, right? And I applied to it just because I thought, it sounds like I could do this, and I don't feel like I'm very technical to like try something else. So I just
For
applied.
people who don't know, that's the entry level sales position at Oracle.
Yeah,
Just like it's what we call them.
exactly. So whatever, I forgot that I applied for that. And then a recruiter reaches out to me and they just basically said that they reviewed my resume and they think that I'm a good match for the solution engineer position, the technical solution engineering position, right? So I was like, okay, I didn't know what a solution engineer was, by the way. I had no idea. And I was kind of worried because I was like, okay, I'm not technical at all. I don't know what this means, but let's see what happens, right? So I did the interview with them. Basically the first time that I got in contact with Oracle, it wasn't an interview. It was just like the recruiter asking me questions like, what classes are you taking? Has Are you like interviewing with any other people? And at that time, I was interviewing with one more person, with one more like another company. And they just basically ask you like really like basic questions like your classes, who are you interviewing with, and stuff like that. So then he asked me if I was interested in, scheduling another call. And I said yes. And I think I got an email saying, hey, you're going to have an interview with Brian. And I was like, and he was like, oh, and he's like the top of the program. He said something like that. And I
For
was
our audio listener, I hope Ramu gets into it because that name just made me raise my eyebrows.
yeah.
Well, you'll see why.
So I was like, okay, yeah, no pressure. No pressure,
So who is Brian for the audience?
He's the director, right?
No,
Well,
he was our vice president, yeah,
vice
of like
president, yes.
the our org.
Yes. So
So
the
you
vice
had to interview with him,
president.
yeah.
And he's super nice, by the way. People like he was not like, he was like mean or anything. But when you hear that, like I was very scared already. So anyway, so I started getting ready for my interview. They asked for a technical interview on something that you want, presentation, sorry, on something that you wanted to present on. That was your choice. And then the second interview or presentation was on an Oracle Live Lab. And it's crazy because now that I know Live Labs, I didn't really catch that word of live labs. I just went in the website that they sent me and I got ready for the interview. But live labs is actually like a really nice platform where we are able to run demos and try Oracle products. So if you guys are interested on that, definitely check it out. But at that time I didn't know what live labs was. I didn't understand anything. I was just following directions and it was working for me. I didn't know what I was doing, to be honest. But yeah, I was very, very nervous. And then the day of the presentation came and he was super nice. He was based in Denver and I had just moved from Denver to Florida. So we spoke a little bit about our background. He also wasn't a technical person. So I was, that kind of made me feel like, okay, like this could be my place, like maybe I can learn all this thing. Like he didn't go to school to do like computer science or something like that. I think he ended up getting there because he was passionate about technology and stuff like that. But but yeah. And then I got my, offer to join Oracle. And I got an offer from the other position too that I was interviewing with. And it was a dilemma for me because, like, I don't know if I can say this, like we can cut it off, but like I was like the other job was offering me more money,
Uh-huh.
Um, like basically it was offering me like 15K more or 10K more. I don't remember, right? And then we do get commission, right?
Yeah.
But I didn't understand that part that much, I wasn't sure if we were going to get like 100% of the commission or not. And of course, it depends on our.
You weren't sure how, let's say, like close to the word they held their bonus
Exactly.
commitments and targets. Yeah.
Exactly. Yes. So I was a little confused about that because if that would have, if that was the case, then I would be making around the same or more in Oracle, right?
Mhm.
But I wasn't there like for sure, And I also read a lot of Reddit, like, you know, um, like posts and stuff
Just
like
yeah,
that.
just like forums about like applying. That's something where I wonder how much recruiting and management understands. Like for the young generation,
It's important.
we like we generally are very wary of any kind of like official corporate wording and posting. And we go to like places like Reddit and Google searches to be like, okay, like what's the real deal about applying for like these positions, especially stuff that is more entry level kind of class of where they take a bunch of young people as a group and like the experience is standardized. Like people pay a lot of attention to that.
100%. And talking about that, like I want to definitely say that I'm happy that I picked Oracle,
Hmm.
Um, because actually the other like team, the other company that I was applying for, they were a consulting company and they were also going to put me in the Oracle team, right? That is crazy. So like it was Oracle for me, But they kind of said something that triggered me a little bit because they said something like around the lines of I I would have had to move to Denver, and they said, "Oh, I really hope you have a support system wherever you move because this is a really hard job, like you're going to be traveling a lot." And then when I heard that, I was like, yeah, no, because yeah, I did have my boyfriend, right? But like at the same time, like I don't know if, that just didn't sound good.
Hmm.
So, I mean, I appreciate that they were honest with me, but that was just like a no for me, So I ended up in Oracle because of that. But after reading Reddit stuff, it didn't have like very positive like feedback, about Oracle. And like also like I spoke to you about this TikTok, right? That, this girl posted about, having an interview with Oracle and things not going very well, like something happened. And it sucks because that girl, like she has a lot of followers and, like she does have really good tips about, tech and like the tech industry and everything. So like it sucks that she had a bad experience. And I'm not saying like Oracle is for everyone, but at the same time,
Hmm.
like I feel like I've had a really good experience, so not like it really depends on the person, right? Like sometimes I hope everyone has a good experience, but like, not you cannot generalize. That's all I'm saying.
It's also like at the end of the day, like one of the biggest takeaways like about my career at Oracle, and I assume this is the case for most, if not all companies, is like the people, like your manager and the people you interact with are going to make or break your experience. And
Definitely.
like you need to, as much as like company culture and like where you work and like those kind of big lofty values, like they all have their place and they do affect things, but like you still have to like think in prioritizations like, okay, what do I know about like the direct people I'll be interacting with, because that stuff's going to like primarily be your reality that you work with. And like kind of like you're saying, it's like it is like at the end of the day, it's like you do notice that like some companies tend to like I don't know, some companies are like are better than others, some have more problems than others about like culture and all that. But like at the end of the day, it is just individuals, and if you just run across like a bad person or someone who like leaves like a not good taste in your mouth, like that's gonna sour your experience and kind of lead to stuff like that. Yeah.
Yep, exactly. So yeah, I definitely don't regret, picking Oracle.
Mhm.
So do you want to go over how you applied and all this stuff, or do you want me to continue with like our first week at work?
Yeah, so I'll go through my interview process. So my whole thing was basically I'd applied to Oracle a couple times before, and it was like all at different stages. Like I applied once in college. That I don't even think I made it through like the filtering on applications, but I also I'm also pretty sure of that. Like, you know how they leave applications up after they kind of like scoop up the people they're interested in for the
Mhm.
first round? I think I was in one of those boats because like a lot of people I knew already got like their first rounds before I even applied. So that was just nothing came of that. Like first round got washed away. And then I think I was still at my first job with this other time I applied. I tell that on this podcast last time? Like basically the gist of that was I was like interviewing for like enterprise resource planning, and because I was looking to get away from no, I was interviewing for to be a SaaS solution engineer, so software as a service, like to people who sell our software products versus say how Ramu and I were on like a more technical, they call us like platform side. And yeah, I was like interviewing to be a solution engineer on that side of things. And the person I was talking to was really trying to push me towards ERP, enterprise resource planning, and that's like our accounting software. But because I was like leaving insurance and finance, and I was looking to kind of like get away from that industry just so I could like get a fresh palette and see what I liked outside of it. I was like very strong about like, I don't want to do that. And he's like, you'll be great. You have a background in it. And I'm like, it's my background that makes me want to try something new. So like
Mhm.
that ended up not working. So applying for, yeah, so applying for the one that we got into, the whole like quick story of that was COVID happens. I take the one-way flight to Austin. All of this is detailed in my About Me page on Talke.tech if you want to learn about it. But basically during COVID, went down to Austin to stay with my girlfriend at the time. Realized that I really love Austin. I was looking to switch into tech, and I was like applying to a bunch of companies in the tech industry, like working on coding certification, stuff like that. So I got this out of that whole kind of time period and just job and interviewing, applying process. I think that my interviews for it was like end of November, beginning of December 2020. That was 2021 at the time. Because did we start in 2020?
No, it was 2020.
No, yeah, it was 2020 because we started in January 2021. Yeah. So it was like
Okay.
December 2020.
Oh, December 2020. That's when you okay, because
Yeah.
I did my interview, I want to say it was like beginning of October.
Oh, so yours were a lot earlier than mine. Yeah,
Mhm.
because mine was basically like beginning of December was like boom, boom, boom. The recruiter reached out to me. I had a referral from a friend in the company. Um, they kind of like moved me along to the interview process pretty quickly. It was like one conversation with the recruiter and then like straight to final round presentation.
Yeah.
I presented to Frank and Sangita, who were the two class of managers for our teams. So basically, for like our class of program for Oracle, they take like 15 or 20 of us. They split us between two teams, and we are kind of like co-raised by Frank and Sangita. And he like divvied us up between like a primary manager, but we also did like a lot of activities with the secondary team. So I believe both of them were my interviewers, and I'm kind of curious what they would say about when we get them on the podcast, because like I think they'd both be like great people to have on.
Mhm.
I'm curious what they'd say about like each of our interviews because I've had so many interactions with them, and I feel like as a presenter, I have grown so much since then that I don't really have like an accurate read on my memory of how I presented with that. But one of the things I do remember is we had like a choice of three different technologies we could do like our lab on to present for the presentation. And the first lab I was doing ended up not working, where like I
Oh,
was like running into like a technical error. And me just being fresh out of like finance world, no background in tech, was like super insecure about that. And I'm like, shoot, this stupid thing's not working. I thought it was my fault. I was like freaking out because I was like 8 hours like into like preparing for this, and I kind of hit like just a brick wall bug that I couldn't like progress past. And I ended up like showing it to my friend who like worked at Oracle. He's like, dude, it's not you. Like the lab's just broken. I'm like, okay, that's good news, but also now I have to start completely over preparing with
yeah.
another lab. So I pulled a couple like super late caffeinated nights just getting ready for that. But yeah, ultimately, Frank and Sangita liked the presentation, and I did get the offer, and we started in January of 2021. So that's how we got through.
January or February? February 2021.
Or no, was it the first week of February, right?
Yeah. It was
Okay, yeah.
February 1st, I think, because like we started like perfectly on our, first day.
Yeah, because I think there was like they sent us stuff in January. Maybe that's why I'm thinking about that. We're getting yeah, because I also left my job, I think like the beginning of January. So that's probably why I associate it with it.